course, what's also routine is that somebody somewhere will comment and say, Obama politicized this issue. Well, this is something we should politicize. It is relevant to our common life together, to the body politic.
No presidential candidate has taken up President Obama's challenge to politicize mass shootings more fully than Hillary Clinton. Here she is in New Hampshire today.
You know, on the Republican side, Mr. Trump was asked about it and said something like, you know, things like that happen in the world. And Governor Bush said, yeah, stuff happens. No, that's an admission of defeat and surrender to a problem that is killing 33,000 Americans. It's time for us to say, wait a minute, we're better than this. Our country is better than this.
Hillary Clinton recalled the day when not all Republicans were in lockstep with the National Rifle Association.
When the NRA was on one of their, tirades and calling the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms enforcers, jackbooted thugs, President George H.W. Bush resigned as an NRA member and said, no, I'm not going to be associated with that. So, I mean, ideally, what I would love to see is gun owners, responsible gun owners, hunters, form a different organization and take back the Second Amendment from these extremists.
Also in New Hampshire today, Republican presidential candidate Carly Fiorina said this.
Usually, if you go back and look at the facts, all of the solutions that some Democrats will propose, Hillary Clinton is out proposing something today. If you go back and look at what they propose, it turns out they wouldn't have stopped many of these mass murders. So let's enforce the laws we have and let's uphold the rights and liberties that we have.
Back with us, former Republican presidential candidate Tim Pawlenty and E.J. Dionne, who has not yet summoned the courage to run for president. We are being very patient about that in E.J.'s case. E.J., we see the gun debate enter the political campaign, and no one seems more ready for it than Hillary Clinton.
No, she really is. And, I mean, it works as a twofer for her because she's always had a strong position on this. And this is one of the few issues where she could run to the left of Bernie Sanders, who's cast a bunch of votes on the NRA side of some of these issues. So she doesn't have to mention his name. But I thought she really was taking up President Obama's challenge on that. And I guess I'd like to ask Governor Pawlenty a question, if you could. You know, he's one of the decent people in politics. And I just do not understand why the Republicans in our conservative movement, they're the only conservative party in the Democratic world that takes this absolutist position on guns. There have even been laws that restrict our ability to collect information on gun violence. That's like legislating mandatory ignorance. Why do conservatives insist on this kind of absolutism, Governor? I just don't get it.
Well, EJ, first, a few things. We have something called the Second Amendment that both you and Lawrence are well familiar with, and the courts and the legislatures and the Congress have spoken about that, and politicians for a long time. But let's not give too much credit.
The Second Amendment does let a lot of laws pass. We got laws against machine guns under the Second Amendment.
But let's not let Hillary Clinton off too easy here on this regard. What she basically came out with is a very small aspect of dealing with gun shows, and whether you would disagree or agree with that, that wouldn't have anything to do with private sales between individuals. It wouldn't have anything to do with people going into their parents' or their brother's closet and getting guns. It wouldn't have anything to do with buying guns on the street. Of the over 30,000 gun violent acts or deaths that occur in a given year, give or take, almost a very small percentage of them are actually these mass murders. It has much to do with the everyday horrible, horrific violence in places like Chicago, Washington, D.C., and other places that have some of the most strict gun laws in the world. And by the way, we should talk about mental health, and people don't understand that there is no central repository for people who are seriously mentally ill other than the most seriously mentally ill who are committed or have similar levels of designation. So the vast majority of people who are mentally ill aren't in some system. And then you get into a debate about, well, which types of mental illness are serious enough to disqualify you? Is it, of course, schizophrenia, but what if you're just depressed? And what if Lawrence or you are just episodically depressed? And where are those records going to be stored? And how is that going to be checked? So this is a very complex issue. And for people to get out on a stage and just say, you know, I'm for a solution, and they don't really offer any detail, they don't really get into anything that I just said, is really a cop-out, frankly.
Well, let's listen to Hillary Clinton doing exactly what Governor Pawlenty said they don't do. She did get into detail talking about the shooting in Charleston and how that could have been prevented. Let's listen to that.
The young man who killed the 9 people in the church in Charleston, there's a loophole in the Brady bill that if you go to try to get a gun and they don't finish the background check in 3 days, you can get the gun. They were still trying to find out about this young man. It turns out he did have a criminal record. He wasn't eligible to get a gun, but because of, quote, the loophole, he was able to.
E.J. Dionne, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say, Governor, is anything any of us proposes, somebody comes along and says, well, it wouldn't have stopped this one or it wouldn't have stopped that one. But we know that background checks would keep guns out of some of the wrong hands. We know that laws requiring a license to get a gun. It's easier to get a license to drive a car in our country than to get a gun. That doesn't make sense.
We can agree, but we can agree. Let's just all agree. Look, people who are previously convicted of serious crimes shouldn't have guns. Mentally ill people, seriously mentally ill people, shouldn't have guns. That's the easy part. We can all agree on that. The harder part is once you get into the mechanics of how that actually works, that's where the heavy lifting takes place. And it doesn't lend itself well to, frankly, cable TV or talk shows because it's a lot more complex. You know, if you were there and you had depression last year, you didn't have depression this year, should you have a gun?
Well, I think probably not, and I don't have a gun.
I mean, if you have anxiety, if Lawrence has anxiety and he can't sleep tonight and he's on Ambien, should he get a gun?
No, but Governor, see, that's what you guys do all the time is whenever somebody proposes a solution, suddenly it's all complex and it leads exactly down the road that Stephen Colbert described, which is it's a recipe for doing nothing because you keep saying, well, this is more complicated or that's more complicated. I find it amazing that my conservative friends who always beat up on liberals.
The law already says, EJ, the law already says you can't own a gun if you're a serious criminal or you're seriously mentally ill. So it really comes down to, do we have the right data systems in place to actually, in real time, keep that up to date?
But when
do we have a way
check
to stop the sales? And even if you stop the sales at the stores, I can walk 2 blocks from where I am right now and go buy a gun on the street. So you got to look at it more than just in slices.
No, but what Hillary said today was right on that point, which is there was a loophole that allowed the man in Charleston to buy that gun. Let's close that loophole on the background checks. We've got to do something and stop doing nothing.
Okay, that's going to have to be the last word on it tonight. Governor Tim Pawlenty, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Governor.
Up next, the Vatican says that this gay man you're seeing right here was actually the only person to be granted a personal audience with the Pope. He brought his boyfriend with him, and so now we know from the Vatican anyway that Kim Davis did not get a personal audience with the Pope as she claimed she did. That's coming up.